Hey, Eric.
Who's going to go first?
Uh,
Who's
well,
not in the middle of a
now you're
yawn?
traveling.
Yes, yes. So you get home, and now I hopped on the road, and I ended up in Texas for work, um, and it has been, by all accounts, pleasant. It's still 90s and humid, but it could be 100 plus and humid.
So everything's relative.
Yeah, it actually rained earlier today. Just a short cloud burst came through, and it rained on Monday night when I got here. So
It's not supposed to rain when it's 90 degrees.
the thing is, when it does rain when it's 90 degrees, it's not cooling. It's just
Right.
warm water dripping down. So
It's like taking a shower.
yeah, yeah. So,
Um,
anyways,
yeah. So, well, it's
you
been an
got
exciting
home.
week.
Yeah, you it's your topic tonight, but you avoided the airplane chaos that occurred over the weekend on your way home.
I wouldn't say I avoided it, Eric.
You
But
navigated it successfully.
yeah, yeah. So that'll of course be my topic.
Hmm.
Later. But yeah, I'll be honest, the fact that the US flight was late was good because it took us enough time to go through customs in Charlotte
Oh,
that had our Charlotte to Portland leg been on time, we would have missed it. So I'm kind of happy that that flight was delayed. And I mean the flights were full. The airport was packed. I've at least on the news there are still people trying to get home in various places, but we made it home. The bag didn't, but hey, it made it home eventually. So we landed Sunday night slash, I guess Sunday night. I didn't get home until 1 or 1:30 in the morning. But my suitcase made it here on Wednesday. So it was like yesterday. So whatever. Okay. You know, the funny thing was that they were using some web app called like "Where's My Suitcase" or something like that, and it said to me, "Your bag will be
where's
delivered yesterday by 8 p.m." And I'm like, "Well, you are a
time
powerful,
is hard.
powerful, powerful system then," because I'm
Oh my
looking forward to
goodness.
that.
I'm
So
looking forward
anyway,
to tomorrow to unpack my bag 2 days ago.
exactly.
Hmm.
But that's okay. That's okay. We made it home. The other like adventurous thing was that my my two boys, were in Europe on a different tour, but we met
Right.
in Vienna, and that was really awesome.
Yeah.
And but one of them, his phone decided to stay in a castle in Austria, near
You,
Salzburg.
you have Find My Friends and
Oh, I
have
did. I,
located it?
I did the lost. I did the lost iPhone. I put the like message on to catch it. I
Right.
called the castle, and they said that they would look for it. And I'm like, I can I can see where it is, but I have not yet gotten. I think I might have hosed myself in the sense that I took out another old iPhone, which was actually
Hmm.
better than the one that he was using, to be honest. And we ported his number to that because, you know, what are you going
Right.
to do? But that means that now I can. Well, it was still showing up in
Yeah, it's still on the
Find My,
account. It's
but
just not
but it won't
cell
have
service.
Wi-Fi and it won't have cell
Yeah.
service, and so anyway, whatever. It's okay. It's all good. If that's the worst that happens, it will survive, and that'll
Yeah.
be all fine. But made it home. There's so much work to be done. My garden is just nothing but weeds. And
I
you know,
wondered what your note in here meant. I saw Weed City, and that can go so many directions after having
yeah,
just
but
come back from Europe.
this is John. This is John, not
I
so.
know. Uh,
Yeah, no, I there are flowers in the garden, which are nice, but they are interspersed with very tall weeds. And what are you gonna do? So
uh,
anyway,
okay.
last minor update is that I am scheduled to extract honey, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. So I've already got my reservation for the honey house for Tualatin Valley beekeepers.
And
And
do you have a approximate poundage?
I
What's the
honestly
right terminology? Pound
harvest amount.
harvest.
I
Thank you.
don't know. No, I don't. I haven't actually even been out to the bees since I got home. So
Okay.
this weekend I'll probably go and go out and kind of take stock, so to speak,
Sure.
and see how they've done. Yeah, yeah, we'll see.
All right.
I'm excited. So,
Well,
anything
fun.
else? Anything else exciting in Eric's world?
So last weekend I did a quick road trip to Utah to take a bunch of stuff for daughter number one who's moving into her own apartment, like heading off to grad school. And it's a completely unfurnished apartment. So the process of, all right, we got to actually buy furniture, at least, bed, desk, things like that. So
Someplace
it
to sit,
was,
someplace
yeah,
to eat.
it was, well, she has a roommate. So
Okay.
her bedroom it's a two bedroom apartment. So she has another roommate.
Okay.
So there's some stuff in there.
So there's a couch and
Yeah, there's a
something
couch and a kitchen
in the
table
common
and
area.
a few things already. But yeah, her bedroom was bare, so it is no longer bare. We got some stuff from either IKEA or other places, and I took my toolkit with me. We went out, walked it up 3 flights of stairs because there's no
Ooh.
elevator in this place, and put together, her bed frame, desk, all that stuff. So
Oh, fun though.
yeah, and then came home, and the next morning, so 12 hours later, was on a plane to Texas. So it's all good. It's all good. It was a good week.
Never a dull moment, but
Nope,
that's
nope.
all good.
Yep.
That's all good.
Alrighty.
All right. How about a topic?
All right. So we'll get into this early today. So the one that I saw was Telegram for Android, a popular app, messaging
Okay.
app. There was a 0-day vulnerability dubbed Evil Video that was going around. It was available, or it was exploitable for up to 5 weeks from when a Russian speaking hacking forum, a threat actor started trying to sell this on Telegram, a 0-day exploit. And that was June 6th of 2024. And so they were trying to sell this. ESET, where this article came from, ESET researchers found the flaw, figured out how to do it, were able to replicate the flaw, and reported it to Telegram on June 26th, and then again on July 4th. And Telegram responded on July 4th. They were investigating, and they patched it on July 11th. So basically from June 6th to July 11th, it was at about 5 weeks, this 0-day flaw was available on hacking forums. Anyway, so the flaw basically was Telegram will allow you, if you have videos, to download the videos, offline, separate from what you're doing if you want it to, so that you can share videos inside the Telegram messaging app. And then you just, in the background, the video gets downloaded, then you load the Telegram conversation and the video is right there and you can hit play and go. Well, the exploit was if you flagged a video, or instead of sending a video, you sent a malicious app, a malicious APK disguised as a video. So change the extension to, .mp4 or whatever it is. There's a video in the article that actually goes through and shows this.
There's a parsing problem.
Yes, you could actually see that and click on it, and it would tell you, oh, hey, you need to do extra steps. So it was a 0-day exploit, but there were multiple clicks that you would have to go through and agree to before you could actually install the app, because it would come down and it will say, hey, you need to download this. Telegram couldn't play the video. Open and play it with an external player. That open and play it with the external player is the malicious APK. It now is installed on your system and can do whatever it wants. So not particularly, you had to do some extra steps to make it happen, but it was a legitimate exploit using the Telegram APK or Telegram APIs to mimic, have an APK file come down disguised as a MP4. So there you go. If you use Telegram, don't click on videos and don't sideload apps.
And upgrade to
the new version
10.14.5.
Yes, the new version of Telegram. Upgrade to that. And Google this morning confirmed to Bleeping Computer, that's where the article I'm here, that Android users were already automatically protected against known versions of the malware installed via these attacks through Google Play Protect. So even if you had that installed, Google Play Protect was protecting you against those.
So they flagged the malicious APK, basically.
The malicious APK, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, all around positive outcome. But there you go.
Okay.
Even secure messaging apps can have insecurities.
Well, has there ever been a richer source of vulnerabilities than media parsing libraries? Maybe font parsing libraries beat them. Anyway. Okay.
So there you go. Tell me about your weekend.
Well, so it thankfully this happened on Friday, and I saw some things flagging it as the largest IT outage ever. I don't know if that's actively the case or not, but lots of people were saying that. Lots of articles said that. And at the end of the day, I'm not trying to throw stones at CrowdStrike because how complicated this sort of stuff is. But it definitely happened, and there were a lot of implications. So the article that we'll link in here is actually to the CrowdStrike blog for the technical details of what happened here. So it's not really talking about the repercussions of what happened, but really kind of about the technical details of what did happen.
Right.
I mean, the first thing that I heard about was an Azure outage. I mean, the first stuff I had seen was that, sort of Azure was having an outage. It wasn't at least for what I read, and I was offline really. I only kind of saw a few things, but
right.
It was maybe an hour or so before I saw another thing that was like, no, it's CrowdStrike. But at the end of the day, this was so it happened on Friday. So for me personally, my wife, my family, we were all flying on Sunday. And so I was definitely nervous. Hey, once the flight implications were out and there were articles saying that flights were being canceled and delayed and everything else, I was like, oh gosh, please. I even had, a couple people text me being like, "You gonna make it home?"
I
And
was one of them.
you were one of them. Yep. And I'm like, well, we have 2.5 days before we have to hop on a flight. So my hope is that it will blow over by then, or be resolved at least. And it largely was. I mean, I think for my wife and I, like I said at the top, we were marginally impacted, I think, just from like a little bit of a delay. But it's
Right.
not like we had to, stay overnight in an airport. And I mean, the tricky thing for us is, since we were kind of trying to match flights with my kids, like we were scheduled to land 3 hours or so before them. So my expectation was, my hope was that if there was any impact, it would be less than that, and that's what wound up happening. So it was perfect. Like I think I planned that okay. There was not enough time for me to, go drive home, drop my wife off,
Right.
go back to pick the kids up or anything like that. And their flight was a little bit delayed as well. So I think they wound up landing at 11:30 or something like that at night. So we
Hmm.
wound up waiting for an hour and a half. By the time all was said and done, we basically, well, honestly, we waited for luggage, and then found out, actually American was pretty good. They texted me. I'm trying to think where I was when they were texting me. They texted me, "Sorry, we lost your bag,"
Hmm.
and and I didn't have to wait for the bags to stop coming out of the
Right. And then go file the claim and
and then
whatever.
do everything. So it was literally like, oh, okay, click 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 click, and I just on my phone before I even left the airport, I had filled out the lost bag claim. So that was that, and then we had enough time to go to long term parking, get out of take the shuttle there, get in the car, pay the bill, come back. And we actually just went up and then parked in short term parking and took a minor little nap. and and then when the boys flight was about, anyway, so all good. Our impact was not too bad. But there were lots and lots of other impacts to this, because it wound up,
Oh yeah.
the update was in a content update.
Right.
And according to the blog, CrowdStrike basically has two types of content updates. Content that is configured inside a sensor update, and then what they call their rapid response content update. And this
Hmm.
was, of course, in the rapid response content update. And when you're doing a sensor update, their console allows configuration for, what portions of your estate. This is largely an enterprise product, right? So, what portions of your estate do you want to update to n, what to n minus one, or what to n minus two? Which is kind of common. It's sort of like channels in Chrome or something like that. But that's not the case with the rapid response content update. And that's one of the things that they say at the end for like what could be done better. But the ability to do threat protection content on a daily basis is really important.
Yeah.
Customers are paying CrowdStrike, customers are paying us to protect them, and we find threats every single day and are expected, rightfully so, to be able to protect against things pretty much as quickly as we find them.
Hmm.
But what the technical thing in here is back in March or February, they released a new sensor type that had a new capability of basically allowing, it looks like, their threat protection content to specify looking at named pipes and information, trying to catch threats, presumably heuristics around named pipe exploits. And so, they deployed this new capability several months ago. They have deployed, they said, 2 instances of, or no, excuse me, 3. Subsequently, 3 additional IPC template instances were deployed between April 8th, April 20th, and April 24th to production. But basically, there was a bug in their content parsing that bypassed or wasn't caught in their content validator.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the comment is, on July 19th, 2 additional IPC template instances were deployed due to a bug in the content validator. One of the 2 template instances passed validation despite containing problematic content data. When received by the sensor and loaded into the content interpreter, problematic content in channel file 291 resulted in an out-of-bounds memory read, triggering an exception. This unexpected exception could not be gracefully handled, resulting in a Windows operating system crash, so a blue screen of death. So there was a comment in the article that this is not a kernel update, but it sounds as if it's content that's being loaded into a kernel interpreter. But I'm not familiar enough with their architecture to state that emphatically. Go ahead.
I was just thinking that's a carefully worded
exactly.
comment,
Yeah, I've read enough of these things that you parse what's actually said, not what is strongly implied.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's harder these days to crash a system, get a blue screen from user context than from system context.
Right.
And, one of the things, read a comment from one of our friends on LinkedIn about this, but one of the things that's really important is, what do you do in the kernel versus what do you do in user space? It's really important, and it's a really critical aspect of your client architecture for what happens in kernel space and what happens in user space, and what happens in privileged processes versus what happens in unprivileged processes. Those are details that require a lot of effort and maintenance to get right, and are really easy to get wrong, and are really easy to let something slip out. And at the end of the day, this is a really, really, really complicated area of software. One of the things I love about the industry we're in, because of the sort of amount of continuous learning and continuous, let's say, it's an adversarial environment, which is, it doesn't get stale. It doesn't get stale.
No.
So
never a dull moment.
Exactly right. So the final thing I pulled out of here is, how do we prevent this from happening again? They put a couple bullets on here. The one that I pulled out from was about the rapid response content deployment process that could be changed. And so bullet number 1 was implement a staggered deployment strategy for rapid response content in which updates are gradually deployed to larger portions of the sensor base, starting with the canary deployment. This is the one I bolded it because I'm honestly kind of shocked that isn't being done at the moment. It's kind of the basics of continuous deployment,
right?
Where you really do need to be able to deploy something to a small estate validate that it's behaving as expected or within the normal operating bounds, and then gradually throttle that up. And that doesn't have to mean over the course of days. It could be over the course of hours, maybe even over the course of minutes, depending on how much data and telemetry and health monitoring you have. But it sounds as if the current deployment is kind of a big switch. Everybody go get this. And so anyone who was online for it was about an hour and 18 minutes that the problematic content was available, got it. So I'm a little surprised at that. That's something that honestly I was a little shocked about. The bullet 2 was improved monitoring for both sensor and system performance, collecting feedback during rapid response content deployment. Yeah, you kind of need that as a prerequisite, honestly, to bullet number 1. That's how you can know that things are working. But okay. The third bullet is to provide customers with greater control over delivery of rapid response content, allowing granular selection of when and where these updates are deployed. So it sounds like, the same sort of thing that they do already allow for sensor deployments for content. Again, this is like in the enterprise space, this is super common, at least, when we were in doing enterprise content deployment. It was, the enterprise customers like to be in control of when things happen on their critical systems. Yes. And I know one of CrowdStrike's, things that they touted was it's easy. You don't have to worry about anything. We do it all. But, sort of with great power comes great responsibility, to quote Tobey Maguire. So.
His uncle, but yeah.
Thank you.
Uncle Ben, yes.
Your pedantism
yes.
is appreciated. Is appreciated. Okay. All right. Well done. Well played. You win.
That's what this is about too, winning. So
it's all good. The fourth bullet was about providing content update details via release notes, which customers can subscribe to. So
yeah,
the thing about that is that the details of individual heuristics that are being released and why and the logic and everything else are either so inside baseball that nobody's interested in it, or it could, it disclose information about what you're looking for, which depending on how closely your content updates are being watched, which I'm sure they are. I don't know. So that may or may not be a super useful thing there. I think the thing that I'm just a little surprised isn't in here was being more careful about what is done at what layer. So my little diatribe 5 minutes ago,
right?
It's sort of the equivalent of the least privilege. Is everything that's being done here, is the interpreter that's running, does it need to run there, or can that run in a user space or in a lower security context that operates on data that's gathered in another context? But anyway, so that's something that as a security person, I'm a little surprised there wasn't something about that. But that is definitely more architectural as opposed to process. Most of the things in here are process potential improvements. So anyway, one of the comments at the top of the article that we'll link here says that 97% of the clients that were available before are reporting in now. So presumably most of their devices have recovered then. But there's still certainly lots of companies coping with the fallout.
Oh yeah, there were, because I was flying on Monday, the days after this all hit the fan, numerous conversations from different folks I talked to who were flying in about people who had been in the airport for 2 days because their flight got canceled. Then when they got rebooked on, got canceled or bumped. And then, airlines don't fly half empty planes. So it's
No.
not like there are, hundreds or thousands of extra seats to rebook
Right.
half the planet on.
Right.
So it takes a while to roll through. So in our group, everybody managed to make it fine, but with little interruption. But one of the guys actually ended up driving from North Carolina as opposed
Wow.
to flying because he got rebooked. And it was like, nope, I got to be there. And
But I
it
could make
was
it in 18 hours. I don't know how long of a drive it is
11
from North
hours, I guess it
Carolina.
was. It was 11 hours. So,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that.
We were, one thing I didn't mention, but I was worried a little bit about my kids and their flight because it was showing as late. And I'm like, man,
Right.
are they going to be able to make the connection? But when I thought about it a little bit more, there were literally 79 kids on that flight.
Right.
And so I'm like, they're going to wait. Like,
Yeah.
they will hold the plane for half the plane. All right, my friend, how about something fun?
Okay, so my something fun will be quick. Panic, the
Okay.
Mac software developers, now game developers, now console developers, have a new game coming out. And I saw this, and it just looks goofy fun, slightly irreverent, but it's called Thank Goodness You're Here. And that's the name of the game.
Thank
So a link to
goodness
the
you're here. Okay.
it basically, and they call it a comedy slapformer. I don't know what a comedy slapformer is, platformer,
As opposed
but
to a
yes,
platformer. Yeah. Okay.
yes,
Okay.
comedy slapformer. So you have to do various things in the city, and it's cartoonish. It's I don't know. It looks fun. Watch the videos. See if it's something you'd be interested in. But it's on Mac, PC, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch. It's coming everywhere, and it just looks like goofy fun. So that's. I watched the videos. I watched a video from the creators of the game. They have a YouTube video. There's several videos on it. It's just looks like goofy fun, and I like the idea of a comedy slapformer. So there you go. That's my something fun. It comes out August 1st, so
Okay.
I may have to check that out in
On
a couple weeks.
Yorkshire Day, evidently, according to the flower up there.
Yes.
I don't know what Yorkshire Day is, but okay.
Well, you're in a town in Yorkshire. The developers are from Yorkshire, apparently.
Okay.
So,
I thought Panic was from Portland.
well, the game developers. So Panic is the publisher. The game developers, right? So
Interesting. Okay.
there you go.
All right. Well, very cool. I will watch the video after we're done here.
Right.
Um,
So
okay. So my something fun. I know before I left, I had a something fun that was a library in Prague, and
Right.
the Constantinum, I think. Am I got that right? Anyway, which I got to see, which was freaking awesome. It was so cool. Almost couldn't even believe we were there. Anyway, it was awesome. So my wife and I then, okay, we're in Vienna, blah, blah, blah. It was awesome. And, towards the end of the week, we were pretty museumed out. And honestly, there were some amazing museums that we saw and everything else. It was great. But on one of the sort of lighter days, we were like, well, let's, actually we did the big red bus, right? Where like just the bus tour, right? Like, let's go like drive around the city. We hadn't actually seen the Danube. And plus, we get to do it sitting down. But while we were walking over there, we were like, "Well, this is the State Hall of the National Library is supposedly worth seeing." Okay. So let's pop because basically you have to pretty much walk through the palace to get to where we wanted to go. Anyway, we could walk through and see the library, and So we go in there, and my wife's like, John, we have done this puzzle. Like, evidently, if you weren't aware, I do lots of puzzles of libraries. It was gorgeous, amazing library. So we walked through it, of course, but I 100% know that we have done that library as a puzzle as well. Totally gorgeous. I'll put the a link to the library here. But one of the things that just like the two things that we were like, we 100% recognize this. They had these big Roman numerals in gold on the sides on each of the sort of sections as you go down the hall, and then the big dome with the fresco painted. We totally recognized. So anyway, it was totally funny because we walked in and we were like, and we were like, we recognize this place. We didn't realize that it was mostly, we were looking at these lists of top 10 things to do while in Vienna, et cetera. And they were like, go see the State Hall. And we're like, okay, we will. Why not? And anyway, but it was just this funny point. Although I have looked in my game cabinet here and I cannot find that puzzle. So I don't know where it is. But anyway,
you had some deja vu walking through it.
It's here somewhere. No, like she totally was like, she was like I could tell she was gonna try and convince me that no, we have done this, it was the sort of thing that I'm like, don't worry, you don't have to convince me that we have done it. I 100% recognize it as well. I very much remember. So anyway, That's my something fun. I'll put the link to the State Hall of the National Library in the chat here, and you can look up some images on it. It's gorgeous. It's kind of to the Prague Library as Vienna is to Prague. I mean, Vienna was just bigger in lots of ways. Anyway, very cool, and that was again a kind of amazing moment of wait we know this place kind of. Anyway, there we go.
Well,
all right, my friend.
I am glad you made it back home. The whole family's back home. Your bags eventually made it. I assume they did.
They did. Yep.
And all is good. Getting back to the West Coast sleep schedule, and
I am not yet adjusted on the sleep schedule, but that's okay. I'll get there. So, hope no problems with your flight tomorrow. So,
yeah,
take
same.
care. I'll see you later.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
All right, bye.